Hey there, everyone. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel, The Magical Solution. My name is Lailani, and this is my show. This is how we grow. Now, tonight, I have a very special friend coming on who I adore oh so very much, and I know you guys will too. Her name is Gabby Celeste, and she has been a healthcare worker actually in the mental health field for about 13 years. And she came from an evangelical background. And through her acceptance as a trans woman, she learned to embrace her gift as a medium. So Gabby had found her worth and her purpose within the practice of Spiritism and Lucumi. Her sole purpose is to be able to touch others from all walks of life and create a safe space, especially for the LGBTQIA plus community. Some of her strongest faculties are clairvoyance and clairaudience, and of course, the art of the spiritual services that she offers. So I want you guys to meet this beautiful spirit. She's amazing. And let's get to know Gabby. Let's know about her story. Hello. Oh man, that thing
Hey,
happened
girl.
again, girl.
It did. It did. It
It
did.
did.
Hold on.
Go
You
away,
hold
go away and
tight.
come back.
Y'all hold tight. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Just doing a little technical difficulty. That's okay. So what we're gonna do in the meantime is we're gonna say hello to some people in the chat, see who popped in. We got Steven. Hola, hola, hola. We got Rob. Hello. We got Reina. Hello. Let's see what we. Hey!
Hey.
Okay. Let's hope that it does not do anything crazy anymore.
Well, we gonna hope. We gonna hope and we gonna pray, girl. All right. So let's go for it. Let's go for it till we get.
Our boy Steven from the group cooked early today so he can make sure he didn't miss your live.
Oh, Stevie. Hey, baby. How you doing, Steve? That's love, girl.
That
That's
is love. Because every
yes, it
time I
is.
got my show on, he be cooking. He's watching me from his kitchen. So tonight he was like, no, 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 uninterrupted. I'm going to cook. I'm going to make sure.
Yes,
We got
yes.
Tyrone over here from London saying
Hey,
hello.
Tyrone. Hello,
And of
hello.
course, our brother Rob, he would not miss this for the world.
How you doing? Hey, Robbie.
Oh, man. So, my beautiful Gabby, listen, first of all,
Yes, girl.
I invited you onto this show for a bunch of different reasons. A bunch of different reasons, but the main reason I wanted you on the show was because I just adore you as a person.
Love you too.
And I just feel like your light and your energy just needs to be shared with people, like period point blank. You know what I'm
Mama,
saying?
I do, girl. And you know what? And the feeling was mutual because you know when we first met, girl, there was a click. There was an
Automatic.
absolute connection.
Yep.
And how we say out, among the world, we say real recognizes real. I think we automatically, genuinely connected, and it's hard to find. It's
It
hard to find
is.
spiritual community, especially when you're used to kind of, having to go it alone, right? Or practicing alone. Trying to find your tribe, your community. So that was a thing for me, and so
Yes, speaking of that, like being a solitary practitioner,
yes,
finding your tribe and finding your community is so difficult to do. And that's just from a solitary practitioner's perspective. But then you want to add things like being a person of color, being a person of the LGBTQ community, being a person of this and of that
yes, yes,
marginalized,
yes,
group.
yes,
Being solitary almost is like that's just going to be your lot in life.
yes,
And you seem to have managed to not only figure out who you are in this whole process,
right.
but you also managed to cultivate a tribe of your own. And I would really like to learn about your journey and like, starting from the beginning when you were in that evangelical church before you went through your transition and everything. Like, tell us
Or
about Gabby. What happened to Gabby? Who was
okay.
Gabby before she was Gabby?
So before that's the question, baby. That's the question. We gotta go there. We are
Let's
gonna break
do
it there.
it.
Okay. So before Gabby was Gabby, all right, Gabby Grew up in a small town. All right, a small town in the middle of nowhere. I'm originally from out of Miami. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, a hole in the wall where there was a very, I mean, just a handful of people. Everybody knew everybody in a small little town, you know. I come from a family of predominantly, mostly people of the evangelical faith. So they were all in the church house, you know what I mean? And you know, a lot of female ministers, a lot of female preachers and pastors and all this stuff and whatnot. So that was the influence that kind of that I grew up around, you
Well,
know?
that's a nice
Um,
change, especially in
yeah.
the patriarchal world of
Yes, it
Christianity.
is. Yes, it
Okay.
is. And so, and some bad women, honey, you know. And so, if I say so myself, girl, okay. So, so it was, you know, I can't say that they were necessarily strict, you know, as some certain, how can you say it, certain denominations can be, but they were definitely, you know, very much in there. So naturally, you know, I took a liking to it, or you know, I mean, this is what I was introduced to. So, my grandmother, I think what kind of sparked the fire inside of me was my maternal grandmother. She was a traveling preacher, a singer, you know, within the church, and so
Yes.
she would take us wherever she went, whether we wanted to or we didn't. And if you didn't want to, you were going to when she got done, because if you showed it out, you know, it was on after church. You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't want to go to the wrath of Mama Ruth, then you know what time it was, okay? And so that was life. You know, I have not always been the same person you see presented here. Okay, you know, it's been a journey. It still is a very much a journey. You know, a day by day thing. You know, it's taken a lot to get to this place because my family, not all of my family, has always been inclusive, has not always been accepting or affirming. You know, although it took a while, right? You know, because
Yeah.
when you're transitioning, everybody is too around us, right? For most of us. And so, um, you know, I kind of, I was always very, very much effeminate. I just could not display certain things or whatnot. It's almost as if I was placed inside of an area because of the environment of the area surrounding me, the neighborhood, the city, the energy, the people. You know, you can't display certain mannerisms. You know, it's because that's our mechanism for survival, right? It's either that
Okay.
or bound to come into problems. And so, you know, I was kind of restricted. And so you have this on one side, knowing that on the inside of me, I have this, you know, that I'm wanting to express, but knowing that if I did that, it means the difference between either you suppressing that, hiding that inside, or you risk, you don't know, being at that time, I'm pretty sure that my
A life
family,
and death. That's life
yeah,
and death.
absolutely, life or death. And then when it comes to family as well, too, they weren't as affirming or understanding as they are now, or they've come to, you know, mature into, you know, being. It wasn't always like that because I'm pretty sure, you know, there's no telling I could have ended up on the streets, you know, such has been the story of many trans women, especially trans women of color, right? They
Yeah.
that was going to happen. So I would suppress that and put that in the back of my head. And then it's like I've always had both things that I had to do, you know, the whole transitioning as well as uh, the whole, you know, the dogma, the religion, you know, what religion does to you. And so for many years, here I am you know, these things are being implanted in my head, you know, and after hearing it for so many years, so many times, you know, it becomes almost robotic, your life, you know, your mannerisms, you know, you're supposed to be a man and be this and be that and such to the point to where you believe there's no other life than that. And I believe
Mhm.
that many people, you know, have passed on from this life without ever living in the truth of who they are, right? And I
Yeah.
believe that could have very well been my story. So fast forward, I would around I think 13 years of age. Here I was. Moving into another part of this small little town, I got to meet a friend, and this friend happened to be a palera, okay, in the religion of Apollo Mayombe. She happened to be also a child of Ochun in Lucumi religion, and I took a loving and a liking to this family, and they took one to me. And she was just, you know, she was also a trans woman. And she just began, her spirit woke up something inside of me. She was, why are you always so, girl, you always so afraid, you know? You need to get out of that and loosen that up. And she would always say, one day, you see this wig here? I'm gonna keep this for you, you know? And she joked like for years, you know, she says, I see it. I see it in you. And I just like, no, no, no. And so here I am in church in the day. At nighttime, I'm back over here. And then they started to
Mm,
introduce me. So here are this back and forth, you know what I'm saying? All the
yeah.
while not sharing this with my family, you know? I didn't share this with my family. So I kind of stayed in this place of being suppressed, being in the closet with things and whatnot, because that's what we're trained to do, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
You mentioned I love that you describe the way you described, in the day I was this and at night I was this. Like,
Yeah,
that is the perfect example of what it is like to be in a marginalized community.
community.
And
Mhm.
especially if you're more than one,
Yes,
having to put on the mask during the day, and then if you're lucky, maybe you can reveal yourself at night to yourself
if
in your
you're
room,
lucky.
if you're
Speak
lucky,
on, speak on.
and so with all that being said, it's interesting that you found a palera, and excuse my ignorance because I'm not familiar with that specific world, but I always thought that paleros did not only did not have like women as like priestesses, but like didn't accept the LGBTQ and the trans. Like, how did that happen?
Beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna call her Marcella. Okay. So
Okay.
Marcella happened to be initiated. It can happen a few different ways. Um, Therefore, it depends on what lineage your Palo house or what lineage that the individual is initiated into. There are certain spiritual houses that don't or aren't LGBT affirming. You know, they don't accept members of the LGBT community into their spiritual religious houses, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's just their house. That's what the energy that's flowing down. That's how they were brought up. That's just kind of the rules of their house, and that's how it goes. Now, it could have. This was not necessarily the case with Marcella's godparents, if I'm not mistaken. Where I'm pretty sure at that time she may have just been coming into her transition because Marcella has been in transition or living in her truth for about she's had her fundamento or what we call her spiritual stuff, her initiations into the religion of Palo Mayombe for about 40 plus years now. So
Wow.
imagine 40 plus years now. And so, you know, while there are certain places who said, oh, well, if you're a woman or if you're trans or if you're, you know, gay or if you're lesbian, you can't be initiated. Now, I would say this is just my humble opinion, and I don't profess to have the absolute truth, right? I can only speak from my
Of
experience.
course.
Some places don't, some places will, but if it is a part of your destiny, you know, if it is a part of it could be in connection as well too with your spiritual court, your spiritual team, you know, regardless of if there are things that they practice and you're carrying that astral, automatically you're coming into this place at some point. In order to fulfill your destiny, you may have to receive certain initiations, while others, you know, you may just have a spirit that practice Palo. Doesn't mean that you're going to get initiated. Not every person is going to be initiated, regardless of what their gender identity or their orientation, their sexual orientation is. But that was the
Mm,
case with her, okay? And I've undergone, which for the sake of this video, you know, we'll talk about, but for the sake of this video, you know, I've undergone certain initiations, you know. It has nothing to do with the outer appearance or the identity, right? It has to
right.
deal with you know, what is a part of my destiny, right? And
Right.
when it comes to women, women are needed, you know, regardless of what. That's something that we have to be clear about. Point blank, period. Because there exists no Palo initiation without a yaya, a mother, you know, without a mother. Okay. You can have a tata all day long. And while they have a part, okay, it takes a yaya being a part of every ceremony. Without that, a person cannot be initiated, you know? I believe this is like this in many other, you know, ATR religions, okay?
Yeah.
But while in other ATR religions, for example, in Voodoo, women can hold higher positions, such as mambos, high priestess, and things of that nature, while in others they may not. So this is something that I've learned earlier on that is not necessarily the truth, and I'm a living witness of it. Um,
Yeah.
so LGBT people play a big role inside of and have a purpose within the spiritual communities, and that's something we need to let be clarified and put out in the open where there's no mistaking of it, honey. If there's an assignment, an energy, a gift, your gift has nothing to do with your orientation, baby. Because if you got it, then you got it. If you're called to do it, then you're called to do it, and
Facts.
there's no way around that.
Facts. Your destiny, and that's the thing. No man can get in the way of your destiny. No
Loose,
religion can get
absolutely.
in the way of your destiny. Facts. You're already everything that has a plan for you already. You already knew.
In heaven
Yep.
before being birthed here. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so,
Yes. And when you were going through this journey,
yes.
I remember when I read your lengthier bio.
Oh, girl, get me, girl.
There was a part in it where you spoke about how, like, for a good period of time, you were actually a traveling prophet, and you got schooled in how to do that. And I'm wondering, did that help you in your move towards Lucumi and Spiritism, or was it two
Absolutely.
separate vibes, two
You
separate
know what?
things?
You know what? Beautiful question. And I'm going to tell you, straight up that when it comes to, regardless of the branch of Espiritismo or Spiritism, that a person is practicing, but when we're dealing with, and we're talking about the venerating of our ancestors, we're talking about the bovala or the altar, the white table, we're talking about Spiritism. There is a denomination within the evangelical community called, apostolic, charismatic, Pentecostal. When these are, as I heard a wise individual once tell me, he said, he said, he said, Espiritismo is. He says Pentecostalism. He says the charismatic denominations. It's the same thing, as Espiritismo. The only thing that changes, and I'm a living witness of this, because the only difference is the names, right? Is the
Right.
names of things. For example, what we would call in the church house, right, a prophet. In Espiritismo, we call them an espiritista, a medium, right? Same
Mhm.
thing. What we would call in the church demonic or lower level possession or possession of a demonic spirit in spiritism, white table spiritism, or whatever form of spiritism it is, we call it a lower level spirit, or we call it a spirit with a little light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or we would call it a causa,
a
right? A cause,
Gaussa.
a parasite, a parasitic spirit. Same thing. What we would call, if you've ever seen in those churches how they go and they say, the Holy Ghost is coming on me. This would happen in church. This would happen to me in church, and this happened around 13 years of age, where a lady came and she came speaking, and she was mounted, by the Holy Spirit, meaning possessed, where the Holy Spirit took over her, and she went and did something like this to my head, and she says, "You have your eyes open. You need to speak what you see and hear say what you hear." That's what she said, something like that. And I said, okay. And I thought, okay, And sure enough, a little bit after that, the dreams started coming, the things just started coming to my mind. And then the pastor said, we're going to put you into prophetic training, okay? That is called, we call in Spiritism, desarrollo, developing your spiritual mediumship, right? Same thing. And so from there, shortly after that, around about 17 years of age, things just took off. I started getting invited to other different churches. The gift was naturally developing, because we don't, unfortunately, in churches, or in the evangelical, the church community, we're not allowed, or they don't believe in the using of candles and water as conduits to the spirit world. And so you have to learn it the hard way, like many spiritists do, just off of going with what you go through with. And so
Yeah.
that probably is what made the connection easier for me to transition over from coming out of the evangelical community, using that same gift, that same God-given gift that many other people have, just using it under a different name, right?
Love it. Love it. I want to get back to this because I definitely want to
Mhm.
talk about the processes that we go through as mediums, like how we get into those spaces.
Yeah.
But first I wanted to ask, to go back to what you had mentioned, that it doesn't matter what's on the outside. It matters if, either you got the gift or you don't. Either you're
Yes.
touched or you're not. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what's going on out here.
Right.
But you have so many cultures and so many ideas around this, almost like a romanticism around
Hmm.
this idea of being a two-spirited person. This
Yes.
romanticism around, being a trans person, and how there's definitely something more special or more spiritual or more enlightened. Do you find that to be true, or do you feel like it's like you just said, like it's just, it doesn't matter what's happening out there, that the fluids are just, they're flowing, whether you either
Okay.
work
I
it or
think
not.
I see where you're going. I see where you're
You know
going
what
with
I
this.
mean?
Oh, right, right, right. I believe I got you, girl. I personally believe that the gift is um is given by God, regardless of what, given by Great Spirit, the universe, whether we say the Creator, it's given to you, and it's, I believe that while there are some who are born naturally with ability to be able to tap into it, some have to develop it. I don't believe that it has anything to do with the outer appearance, right? So regardless of what, whether I would have stayed where I was before Gabby came forward and emerged into her true self, or whether it is what you see now, I am who you see now, regardless of what inwardly, uh, um, the same gifts were always manifesting, right? I
Yeah.
don't think that it being trans um, necessarily um, I would never say that it makes, it would make one better, but I would say that a lot of times there are many trans people from my personal experience who have been natural mediums, who have been
I have to
natural
say, with
spiritists.
my
I
personal
don't know why.
experience too, every time I meet someone who identifies as a two-spirit, there is no hiding around
Yes,
that person.
yes,
Like, they just do the thing.
yes, yes,
It's
and not.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and not just within the LGBT community period,
Right.
and I don't necessarily know exactly why that is, but I know that for example, in the Native American tribes, that trans women, two spirited people held a role, and for some reason or another, maybe this could be because of the isolation at times, because of the shunning away, or maybe because the journey that we've embarked on, or have to. A lot of times we have to rely on those senses again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we're forced to have to be in a place to where we tap into that a lot quicker, than
Yeah.
others, right? Maybe to save our lives.
Sometimes I like to think of it like, I had this discussion not too long ago with an occultist who described how divine feminine and divine masculine are simply two extremes of the pendulum swing, and
Sure.
that all of us are on this spectrum, just somewhere in the middle.
Agreed. Agreed.
And, it's really possible that maybe and this is just me sort of just shit talking and theorizing
I'm with
about it,
it. I'm with it,
but,
mama.
like, it's so possible that maybe a two-spirited person is just simply someone who is able to stand in both worlds in balance, which is what we as spiritists, we constantly seek spiritual homeostasis. We
Beautifully.
constantly seek this balance between
Yeah.
us and the natural
Yeah.
world so that we can get
Yeah.
closer to God.
Right.
And you just have this, you come into this world knowing that you walk on both sides like that.
Loose. Loose.
You know what I mean?
And that in itself is spiritual within itself. That I do
Right.
agree with. That in itself is spiritual within itself, because regardless of what, it's not so much as I just we possess both energies, right? We possess
Yeah.
both energies, right? We connect and tap into both energies, even though I identify as a female, as I'm sorry, as a woman, as I am. I know that there's still this other part of me as well too, where at times we have to tap into both of those energies, right? And so maybe
Yeah.
because of it, like you said, like a pendulum swinging almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And energy is very kind of fluid. Would that be the right way to say that? You know?
So fluid. And because it's balanced, that it would make sense that, you know, the spiritual connection and being really good with your mediumship and your faculties, it would make sense that it comes a little bit more natural because you're in accordance, you know, you're
Yes,
balanced.
yes,
I don't know,
yes.
to me, I'm just making shit
I'm
up,
with
but
it.
like
I'm
it
with it.
makes sense,
No,
right?
no, no. I'm with it. I'm with it. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Um, the crazy thing about it is that I want to say about I've been on the I first started to set up, you know, maybe like my first goal with that. I want to say on my first altar around I want to say a little over 5.5 years ago, about 5.5 5 years ago, around that time, and around that time. The transition, so the transition and the tapping into walking into the spiritual path kind of happened around the same time together,
You
the
see?
same time together. I swear to you, the same time. Here I was walking on one end, walking on the other end, and both of those, it was just like a whole shedding of skin, and I
Oh,
just ran for it.
that is awesome.
Sure.
It's, you know, it's interesting how like we look back on our lives and just how like orchestrated and how like it just makes sense, you know, when you look back on it, you're like, oh yeah, if I hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have, you know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with
So
it.
okay, so when you were a traveling prophet for a little while and you came to Spiritism and you started to see the similarities, and the language, that all that, but the only difference was just the language. Can I ask, like, what, as an Espiritist, as a medium now,
Mhm.
when you go into a session with someone, like even you reading online, you're online with your cigar, you're hanging out, seeing
Yeah.
all these people coming at you, talking, Gabby, I want to read, and Gabby, I want to. What is your process? Like, when when is it the moment that you start to receive your messages, and what is that like for you? Because I know every medium is different.
And they
Every
are.
medium is different.
They are because some some people sense it, some feel it, some hear it, some can smell it coming on, there's all kind of weird little, we all receive it differently. But I noticed that it's not much different from how that energy, the spirits would come over me in the middle of revival, of a
Yeah.
revival, within the evangelical community, within the middle of a service. All of a sudden I remember, for example, my palms would get sweaty within the church house right before the spirit's about to come down. My palms would get sweaty, the back of my neck would get sweaty, would get hot, right? I would feel like a heat.
Mm.
I would feel this uneasiness, this nervousness, that I can't explain. And I at times, at first I may start to slur my words, and then all of a sudden, bam, it comes out bubbling, right? It just comes flowing on through. Um, for me, going
Now,
into a
was there
reading.
something happening right before that? Like, were you dancing? Was there music? Were you getting
You
into
know
a
what?
trance before
You,
it
you know
happened?
what? Yes, yes, because a lot of times we usually are. And when they're doing the whole, sometimes the music could be rather slow, right? Sometimes it could be rather fast. And all of a sudden, you feel a shifting in the air, the current, the energy changes, right? And a
Yes.
lot of times I'm either singing or I'm dancing, and you can tell that it's always a different energy. For example, as a medium, you can tell which spirit is about to come down or which spirit is flowing through, because there's been times where it may come down a little soft, a little softer, bubbling. Perhaps if it's like a gypsy, or your conga spirit, versus if it's a Francisco, my Francisco coming through, it's going to come down a little heavier. And I've learned that a lot of times the music can influence it, the songs can
Yeah.
influence it. And right there, it's like a conduit to the spirit world, and it calls the spirits forth to come down,
Yeah.
and before you know it, bam,
Because
yeah.
one thing I did observe when I watch you read is you speak really fast. Like all of a sudden you are just and it's just coming out. It is just coming out. And it
Oh my
sometimes
God.
you be doing it in Spanish too. I'm like, damn. And it's
Oh,
just
yes.
so, what causes that to happen? What's is there are there physiological changes in your body when you're speaking
Beautiful.
quickly, or do you kind of like blank out? Like what's
I
that
blank
all
out. I do blank out. I do blank out. Yes, because the messages. A lot of times I've noticed this as well too. that almost always, whenever I'm giving the messages, I kind of remind myself, and I have to kind of keep this open communication with my spirit guides that, hey, I need you guys to kind of slow it and bring it on down, because the messages start to bubble up and come on out. And it's like a lightning, however it's coming out. I always tell them, grab your pen and your paper and start writing whatever you see coming on down, okay? And then they come back. I've noticed them, Gabby, you remember you said such and such and such and such and such? And I was like, no, baby, I don't remember any of that. A lot of times are lifted off of me. And I've noticed that that is also a trait, a trait that my spirit guide had in her life, where a lot of times when she was about to read on through, she would start to speak rather faster, it would start to bubble on through. So some people slow down, and according to what kind of spirit guide you may have with you, they may speak rather slower, rather softer, maybe fast, maybe, for example, if it's my Francisco spirit, if it's my, hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, if it's my Francisco spirit, this is a male Congo spirit of a heavier energy. My whole voice is going to change, baby, okay? And chances are my whole voice is going to change. My mannerisms are going to change, okay? And it's going to be very much more dominant, more masculine, and he speaks a little slower versus
Yeah.
with my Francisca, she speaks rather fast. And so that's how a lot of times you can tell the difference between them. There can be changes in your body. Like I said, my hands go to getting hot. I may go to, doing some sort of motions. You know what I'm saying? Things just go to heating up.
Yeah.
It's like and then after a while, once you just kind of, you breathe on through, you can channel your spirits, without having to go into being fully into full possession. We kind of channel the spirits, softly. You know what I mean? So it takes practice. It takes a little bit of
It does
practice.
take
It takes
practice.
daily work. It
And
does.
it takes a certain amount of surrender too, because those feelings, if you're not used to them, they're uncomfortable. They will kind of make you be like, what's that? What's that? you know?
Yes. And you would think at first, listen, can I be real? Can I be myself, girl?
Yes.
At
Yes.
first you're gonna feel like you lost your damn mind, okay? Can I tell
Hmm.
y'all that? At first you're gonna feel like you lost your damn mind. All right, because I thought I was losing mine. And people just, you don't need to be such and such and whatnot. But I said, either what these people are saying is true, either what the spirits are saying is true, or I'm either going crazy, but it can't be both. And
That's
when
it.
they started giving evidence of it, I said, okay, here it goes. And so at first, it's okay to feel uneasy. It's okay to feel as if you don't know. I did not necessarily know. The spirits go teaching you. These are a part of your spirit tribe, benevolent beings of light that come through to guide us all in our journey that are assigned to us. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a beautiful journey because it gave me a purpose. It gave me a reason to live. I thought after leaving the evangelical church that I would have no reason to. I was like, damn, well, I just might as well just forget about it all. I was in a heavy state of depression. I just didn't know what else to do, And then after my grandmother passed, which she was the first person to ever show me, being a preacher, show me how to throw the cards, And she was a medium, and so a lot of times the giftings, are passed down, right? We don't talk about stuff like that, especially in communities of color. You know what I'm saying? These are things we don't talk about,
It's
but
fact.
I look at some of the things she did now, and I look at some of the stuff I was doing while going through developing, or should I say, we're always developing, we're still developing, but, and it wasn't the easiest thing. You at first you're gonna hear some shit that's gonna go bump in the night, okay? You're gonna
Hmm.
hear some stuff that's gonna scare. I heard the voice of my paternal father, whom I never met, for the first time, and I don't usually get the messages. Now I do, but before by ear, through clairaudience. That was a new experience for me. I almost had a heart attack, and I leaped out of my bed. I ran into the living room. I screamed at my mom, and I told her, "Mama, why are you calling me like that? You gonna give me a heart attack?" I said, "Mama, you know what? I don't think that was very funny." I heard the three knocks on the door. You ever heard
Whew.
about that? Three knocks on the door. That was it for me. So,
Ugh.
it ain't easy. It ain't
It's
easy.
not
It ain't
easy.
gonna be
And I
easy.
think, and also too, and this is why it's so important to find a mentor and to find someone whom you trust to help guide you, because those uneasy moments can be easily discerned if you have the right training. Like my Madonna, when she came to me, bitch, she scared the ever living crap out of me.
Yes, yes,
She came so big and with a lot of like fiery energy, and
yes,
it was
yes.
just it was and then when I passed her and I'm giving messages with her in me, it's cursing. It's big, heavy cursing and laughing. And she is
Yes,
like a no
yes,
joke nonsense bitch.
yes.
But when she first appeared to me, I was like, oh my God, who is this? Like, it was scary. But she healed me. She was loving. Like,
Beautiful,
it was a big, protective, fiery energy, but with all the
beautiful.
love behind
Yes,
it.
mama.
You know what
Yes,
I mean? And like, that's
absolutely.
something, if you're brand new, that's hard to decipher. That's hard.
It
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And you know what? Light to your spirits, mama, because those Madama spirits, all spirits are loving on through. Those Madamas a lot of times tend to have traits like this where they don't play any games, they don't
No
take any
games.
trash, you know what I'm saying? And they're gonna
Mm-mm.
give it to you real on through. And it is most importantly, may I just say that when I say that it can be scary at first, but it's important that if you can find, I was fortunate enough to meet an amazing, amazing, amazing man who I love and think the world of, who one day he looked and read me from one end to the other. And that was the first person to ever reveal, and mentor me. Okay. Can I say his name? Can I say his
Of
name?
course you
So,
can.
Batista Brujo Luis, if you out there
My
somewhere.
brother.
Yes,
Yeah.
mama. And so he gave it to me real. He says, Mama, this is what this is. This is what this is. And he told me, I want to share this with you guys really quick. He told me when he was, in this through this misa, that I would get sick around my birthday. That I would get really sick. I would come close to the end, but I would survive. And that after that, I need to follow my spiritual calling, and he says, this spirit, such and such, this is what it is, this is what it is, this is what it is. But he did not just leave me there. That's the point of mentorship. He didn't just leave me there. He may have been a little at times been like, oh damn, here this girl go again, but he showed me love. He showed me so much love, and he made sure. He says, Mama, this is how you do it, and this is what you need, and this is what you need. And your spirits are going to be your greatest teachers, but you know what? He mentored.
Yeah.
He helped me along the way, and I think that it's beautiful when you can find a mentor, who is knowledgeable, who can walk beside you, and are willing to kind of, help you as someone wants someday, at some point in time wants help them to develop their gift. And
Yeah.
as we start to develop, we learn that it's nothing to be afraid of. It's
Yes.
nothing to be afraid of, and that it can be really healing. Because I know that it changed my life, it saved my life. You know
Mhm.
and so, yeah.
So listen, before because before I would love for us to drop some evidence, yeah, for a few people here on the live, because there's a couple people here who have been devout, come to every single one of my shows. Stephen is one of them, Rob is
Yeah.
one of them, who come to every single one of my shows and deserve a little bit of love. But before we do that, you know, as someone who is not only a woman of color,
Yes.
not only part of the LGBTQ, not
Yes.
only has gone through transitions of different religions from one to another, you have overcome a lot. And so if you could give some advice to someone, whether they're one or all of those communities or a combination of those communities, who is looking to find themselves on a spiritual level,
Yes.
what kind of advice would you give them?
Okay. So I would say that a lot of times, the thing that you're seeking out is seeking you. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm,
would tell them, so if there's something at some point where you hear this call in your heart, to follow it, regardless of what anybody feels or what anybody thinks. I would say that it's important more than anything to be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. The moment you do, you're going to realize that there's this weight that's going to be lifted out of your heart. This weight that's going to be lifted off of your spirit. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
I think that it's okay to I would say, reach out. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to reach out. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold it in by yourself. All right. And don't ever make assumptions, because the very people who you might think may shun or reject you are going to be the first persons to embrace you, right? And they could just really turn out to be the biggest supporters in your corner. So don't ever knock anybody, you know? I want to say that, especially as being, somebody myself who's a black trans woman, okay? That there's nothing, it's vital that all right, that you have, those who have walked this earth, on the other side, who are just, they're waiting to establish that connection. You know what I'm saying? And it'll change your life for the better. And whether you are gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever it is, especially within the LGBT community, or as a person of color, you have the right, and it is a part of, they're just waiting for you to tap on out. You know what I'm saying? To tap in,
Yes.
right? There's nothing wrong with it. I would say that, it's okay not to have all the answers. It's going to come in time, and if you just start somewhere and you take one little step of faith, one little leap of faith, your spirit guys, your spirit teams are going to put you, in the paths of the right people, right? Age has nothing to do with it, right? Looks have nothing to do with it, right? And
I
it's a
love
beautiful
it.
journey. That's it.
I
That's
love
it.
it.
That's
I
it.
think it's just, it's so difficult to step into your power because it requires you to walk through fear. Not
Yeah.
walk away, not run from, but literally walk through the fear in order to step into your power. But you know what? It's just a step. Just take the step.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Take
It
the
is.
step.
And it's like I said, at first it may be scary, to step into something that's a gray area, for some people, or it's the unknown. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to put one foot in front of the other, and you have to start from somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and it's all good. I mean, it's going to. It's a day by day thing as well too. All right, it's a day by day thing as well too. So
Yes.
um,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
There's so many people who need that.
For sure.
So let's take a moment. Let's tap in. Let's give some some energy and some love and some messages to the people watching tonight. I want to say let's say hello to who do we have in here? We have Reina, we have Tyrone, we have Ebony, we have Steven, we have Rob, we have Abigail, we have Jonathan, we have Andrea. So many beautiful people here. And those of you who are shy, just say hello. And for those of you who are rewatching this on a later date, make sure you drop a comment to say hello. And definitely, definitely follow my girl here, Gabby. You're on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We can find you anywhere, girl.
You'll
Anywhere.
find me. You'll find me. You'll find me.
Yes. If you're on any of my stuff, she's on my stuff. You just go in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yes, baby. Yes, you are my girl.
Mm.
You better know it, damn it.
Sarah, hello. So, who needs some light tonight? Who needs some light tonight? We got a few minutes. We might as well throw some energy out there. Mm. I got my rum and coke. I got my
Oh,
cigar.
okay. Yes, baby.
I'm feeling good.
Oh, all right. That Madonna's feeling good too, honey.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling good. I really
I'm with
am.
it.
Loosey goosey.
Yes.
No, I'm telling you, she was so funny. Like she rolled up. She was at a card table with men, all men at a card table, and she was passing out the cards, smoking her cigar, and laughing like a mother. She was like one of the bros,
I love
and but
it.
like big. She was a big girl, and she held up with them, and
Yeah,
I love her. I love her so much.
that's amazing,
Ugh.
Mama. Girl, I can't wait till the day you're here, Mama. I would be honored, to
Oh
sit
my
side by
god.
side,
You know what I just
and
realized? That San Brujo Louise, definitely brought you into my vision. And he brought, you know who else he brought? Steven as well. Salinas, I know you're in the
Yes,
chat somewhere. He brought Steven into my vision as well. And I
yes.
immediately gravitated towards the both of you and invited you into my group and everything because I knew, I was like, there's something about these two people. So I would love all four of us one day to just,
Stephen as well. Yes, I see the book.
yes,
That would be beautiful, honey.
just bring it
Beautiful.
down.
Yes, yes, yes. That would be beautiful. Leilani, I don't know if I can see the comments from my end, but if somebody comes on through, I
Yeah.
don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, so I don't want to just call out any names, you know?
No, so we had Rob here who gave some hearts that he would like some light, and we have Ebony here who would love some light. And Steve was all about, yes, set a date, let's
Okay.
do this.
I'm with it. Yes, Stevie. I hear you, baby. We're gonna do it. We need to do it. Okay. All
Gotta
right.
make sure
So
we give some thank yous.
yes. Okay. So Rob.
Let's see what's going on with Rob.
Okay. All right, Mama. I'll let you get first.
Mm. So I'm feeling not a lot of sleep you've been having lately, honey. You haven't
Those-
been sleeping. You have not been sleeping. And this is definitely impacting you big time. I'm feeling I'm feeling dehydration, I'm feeling exhaustion, I'm feeling headaches, migraines, but you're pushing it down. You're pushing it down because you're a hustler, you want to keep working, you want to keep doing the thing. You want to make sure you don't fall behind, but I promise you, baby, you're not going to fall behind. You just need to take care of yourself.
yes.
You're at a point where your body is asking you to take care of yourself. I'm getting that right off the bat. The health.
This. This. This.
And to reach out to your sister. I don't even know if you have a sister, but I'm being told to reach out to your sister. So if you don't have a sister, what that tells me is that you have a female friend who you definitely consider a sister, and they're asking you to reach out to her because apparently there's something that she can offer you to assist you at this time. Something that you need that you're either afraid to ask for or are too ashamed to ask for or don't think that you need, but reach out. Reach out.
Those light and progress for your spirits, Mama. Rob. Rob, so the first thing, so through the spirits that minister to me, honey, I'm gonna tell you what I'm hearing here, baby. Rob, the spirits are coming through here marking, talking about issues that have to deal with what looks like the extremities. This could be the lower extremities, the leg area. You know, this could be the areas of the leg, of the joints, things of that nature where they're talking about your health, baby, okay? I'm hearing something in regards to there being an issue in regards especially to blood circulation. I don't know if you deal with issues of blood circulation, hypertension, baby, okay? So here's what I'm going to recommend for you, okay? Because the spirits are coming through here telling you that there's some things in regards to your health that needs to be cleared up, all right? I don't know if you've ever had, if you had a chance, but you know, I would recommend that you have like a little checkup, okay, when you get a chance, okay? Excuse me, and I'm gonna tell you to get some red roses, okay, or red flowers, okay?
Hmm.
And I want you to
Drink
get a
that
little bit
water,
of white.
baby. Drink that water.
Yeah, I want you. Yes, I want you to get some white rum, all right? And I want you to blow a little bit of white rum on these bouquet of roses or red flowers, okay? I want you to sprinkle a little bit of white eggshell powder on them, okay? And I want you to blow a little bit of tobacco smoke on them, all right? Just a little bit. And I want you to sprinkle a few drops of holy water on them. And what you're going to do is you're going to cleanse yourself from the head on down, okay? From the head on down. If the spirits are coming through saying here that you're coming into a place where you're going to find yourself cutting ties, especially when it comes to a woman in particular. They're talking about the being careful of the sharing of secrets. You know what I'm saying? They're being careful of the sharing of secrets, things of that nature, whatnot. You know, where they're coming through talking about betrayal, about those who you've considered your friends, you know, things of that nature, whatnot. Being in this place, the spirits are saying that Your spirit guides are heavily protecting and watching over you, but they're also giving you that comfort. They're also giving you that reassurance in this time that you're not by yourself, honey. Okay, you need to kind
Mm,
of pick up your shoes and get out and do a little bit of grounding. Okay, but you also
Loose.
need to do some white baths, honey. Try to do some white baths. Play some music. Give your spirits need some light, honey. All right, you need to give them some prayers, sweetie. Give them some prayers, and don't feel as if there's something about you feeling at times as if you don't measure up, or being in this place to where you feel as if maybe you need to give up or you need to throw in the towel, honey. This is not the time to do that, because you were destined to do it. And the spirits are saying that the trip that you have been wanting to, contemplating in your head, is going to come into fruition, and you're going to take it. This is going to be well needed for you. All right. And from this day forward, don't allow anybody to cause you to put your head down in shame. Okay.
Mm,
Don't allow anybody to cause you to walk with your head down. Okay.
loose, loose.
Right? And the situation in regards to the money, I see that being resolved. Okay, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, honey. Sometimes you tend to overanalyze certain things. All right, and there's the spirit of a woman coming through who could have been like a motherly figure. This could be a grandmother, a great grandmother, a great aunt, And it looks like whoever she was in her days when she was here on this side of eternity, she loved to smoke a lot, or she would always had something in her mouth, like she was puffing on something. This spirit you need to give light and candle to, honey. Okay. All right, but I see some healing taking place on the inside of you, baby. All right, and it's gonna get better. Many blessings to you.
Loose. Beautiful. Beautiful. So many. Oh, hi, Sita. Hi, Tina. Tina told me, so I don't know if you would ever come to New York, but there's this amazing Beltane festival that we do every year in May in Cornwall, New York, and it's phenomenal. And my girl Tina was like, Gabby needs to come to that this year because you would
Okay.
make a killing at that place because she can get up anywhere between 5 to 10,000 visitors, and
Wow.
people make a lot of money at that festival, and you would do
Amazing.
phenomenal there.
Okay, give me details, y'all. Give me details. I
Yes.
haven't been to New York, but you
Ah,
know,
we would party so hard.
yes, we would in the concrete jungle, baby. You better know it. You better know it.
Love it. So you
Um,
guys, see that was just a little taste, like that's kind of how it runs, there's you sort of sit in contemplation, you ask your spirits to come down, you get yourself in a relaxed state. Or with some people, like you mentioned earlier, some people play the music, or some
yeah,
people will, so
correct.
everyone has their own way of sort of getting
Right.
themselves in a headspace. And then once the information starts flowing, the key is not to doubt yourself. The
Loose.
key is just to
Right.
say the thing, just say the thing, even if it
Right.
makes no sense, say the thing.
Abs- Especially if it makes no sense. Especially if it makes no sense. Okay. Yes, mama.
Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, I have to say, this was a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. Gabby, Gabby,
Yes.
Gabby, Gabby.
uh,
Thank you so much for coming on
Thank,
tonight.
thank you, baby. Thank you for having me. Leilani, you are a queen in my eyes, a goddess, mama. I love your spirit, mama. Let me tell you something. I love the hell out of me some Leilani. I love what you represent, the woman, You inspire me, mama. And I'm pretty sure, I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm so grateful to be here, mama. And, you just, thank you for making it your business, to open the doors, to people and things that are different, that seem different, honey. Thank you for being a light, for me and many other people, honey. I love you wholeheartedly. And I just pray that you always keep that same energy, that same heart, And girl, I'm here, mama. I got your back. Come with me. Okay?
Love you
Any
so much.
love you,
You
mama.
guys, thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you got a chance to really fall in love with Gabby. Make sure you follow her on all of her social media. Make sure that you send donations when you ask for readings. Make sure that you show your support and give light to her spirits, because this
Thank you.
gift does not come around often. The way that she does it does not happen often. So enjoy tonight, everyone. Have a beautiful Sunday night. This is how we grow, you guys. Take it easy.